In the last episode, we began exploring one of Utah's most dangerous ridgelines, the so-called Devil's Castle. Starting high in the Wasatch Mountain Range, we hiked our way up past a beautiful alpine lake, hiked a couple thousand vertical feet up to the ridgeline, and then began making our way through a maze of greenery and dead tree limbs. The hiking turned into scrambling, the scrambling turned into rock climbing, and before long we were in the thick of it. It was at this point that I made the ill-fated decision to take us off the backside of the ridgeline and to approach the high point from behind. Buckle up, because things are about to get sketchy here on the Mountain Mason channel.
Instead of going up this and around, what if we just went down this?
We're trying to work our way down to a series of ledges down below, but this loose rock is pretty unnerving so far.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Nice and slow. So we can either go up this or straight down this, and I'm favoring going straight down this. Are you in a good chilling spot right there?
Yep.
Okay, can you chill right there? I'll continue on.
Sure.
Yep.
Each major rock fall is a reminder that if we make the wrong move, it could be us tumbling down the backside of this ridgeline.
All right, I came down a little bit to your left along that little crack right there, and there were some good holds. Nice.
Here, Stephanie turns to face the wall as she climbs, and that's smart, gives her more control.
We could descend a little more if we had to. We're gonna try to, once again, traverse along this little gravelly type of section. Save ourselves a little down climbing. So far it's paying off, as this looks doable. Alright, Steph, go ahead and follow. Nice and careful, it is loose.
There's a slight, like off-camber tilt to a lot of these ledges, and they're covered in a pretty thick coating of loose rock, and makes them very treacherous, I would say.
Make sure to test your handholds and footholds.
At this point, the ledges have, I won't say disappeared, but they've more or less turned into rock climbing. You can't really walk anymore. I'm trying to pull a lot of these loose holds off the wall just to kind of make it a bit safer for Stephanie. Of course, she is testing her holds, but if I can remove some of these before she gets to them, then all the better. Oh, and by the way, we're on the backside of the ridge, so we're not killing anyone with our rock fall.
Sounds good. There was some loosey-goosey stuff through there.
This kind of section is just true rock climbing, and you can see all of my weight was supported on my toes. It's a bit disconcerting wearing these really thin, flexible ultras, but so long as you trust your toes and not the shoe, I think it's okay.
Alright, Steph.
A fall in that previous section would have been disastrous, and don't get me wrong, a fall here would suck, but at least we have a decent sized ledge below and a lot of trees and greenery. That kind of stuff would slow our fall and give us a good chance to stop ourselves.
No, I'm just, I went down slightly too far. We're going along right here where I'm going.
I start to feel some stress mounting here as we inch along a series of delicate and loose footholds, loose handholds, trying to identify a safe line up to that notch on the right. It's all very loose, it's all very steep behind us, and we cannot afford to fall here. Here I take just a second to remove myself from the immediate problem. Just kind of gaze up into the distance and breathe, and then refocus here in a second, and fortunately do find a good series of holds and continue making progress upwards. In the world of rock climbing, this climbing is very easy, but I would say it's made much more difficult by all the loose rock, and of course the knowledge that we can't make any mistakes. You know, we have no rope protection.
We've regained the trail, Steph.
Yay!
A little bit more climbing here to regain the ridgeline and to make it to that notch, turn around, start heading towards Devil's Castle. But this rock climbing is much easier as it's solid rock, none of that loosey-goosey gravel stuff, so this is very enjoyable by comparison. Well, I mean, they're both enjoyable, but different kind of enjoyable, I guess. Here we're wondering if we could continue along the ridgeline, climb that rock face behind us. At least for today, we're going to stick to the plan, head back across the ridge, summit Devil's Castle. This little section of horizontal climbing was actually one of the more technical, as the footholds were kind of sloping downwards and it was difficult to gain purchase. I'm very excited to be here at the base of the Devil's Castle. As you can see, there's that little smooth runway of rocks. Nice little pathway up to the summit. I'm just gonna wait on Stephanie here, but we're off the loose rock and we've pretty much made it to the summit. It's just beautiful up here. I love this view right here. Look at that. There's this neat little move here where you kind of have to face the rock and hug it as you inch along on the outside. Just, maybe 6 inches from falling to your death. Easy to do, but exhilarating nonetheless.
Take your time.
I am admittedly not too good at keeping track of when we've actually summited things, but I think this is the summit. Anyway, I'm looking down at this rock chute to my left and thinking maybe we need to go down there, but it's always smart to scout out before committing to a line, and so I decided to gain this high point and look ahead and see if we need to go down that chute or if we can just continue along the top here. And it seems clear that we can just continue along the top and avoid that loosey-goosey gravel off to the left. Or at least avoid it for now. We'll see. Here I'd like to point out how Stephanie could technically stand up and just walk along this, but she chooses to mix in a bit of bear crawling on all fours, and you could say this is less efficient in the moment, and I think you'd be right. I mean, it takes more energy to move this way, but is it more efficient in the long term? I think it could be, and that's because, this is physical, but a lot of what we're doing here is mental, and if she can feel safer, reduce her adrenaline load, reduce her mental fatigue, then that's very important, and it may be worth dropping down and using a bit more energy to feel safe there, if that allows her to manage her mental fatigue, better.
Looks like the trail loops around here.
I definitely don't want to sound as if I'm minimizing the importance of, I guess, physical preparedness, physical fitness when it comes to things like this. But, to me, that's almost a given. You have to be, or you should be, looking to kind of maximize your, physical readiness. But also, I just think very important to point out the importance of, I guess, managing fear, managing adrenaline, because that can absolutely exhaust you physically, leave you unable to make good decisions, unable to control your body precisely. That's just as important as, your cardio, your muscular endurance, because you can have great cardio, great muscular endurance, but it all goes out the window if you're extremely stressed. Here you can see I'm choosing to turn around and face the wall. This is something that gets a lot of beginners. It is of course scary to turn around and kind of go down backwards, but it's absolutely essential in some situations, because otherwise you can't really get your toes into the holes. You can't really even get your fingers into the holes. I mean, you're essentially trying to walk down something that's vertical. In many cases that can be, if not impossible, at least very, very dangerous, very difficult. Of course, this would probably not be a good time to develop that skill set. You need to practice turning around and climbing down backwards on easier stuff. Well, not necessarily easier stuff, but maybe lower consequence stuff. Do it in a climbing gym. You can do it on easier hikes, easier scrambles. But don't want to figure out that you can't do that on the side of a mountain like this. One of the main challenges associated with turning around and facing the wall, besides the, I guess, fear component of it, is that it can be a bit harder in some cases to see, where you're going. You have to kind of look down between your legs, look around your feet. But I think it's nothing you can't overcome if you slow down, and then the challenge is actually slowing down, right? Because it means you have to hang out in these uncomfortable kind of life or death situations. But yeah, I mean that is kind of what you have to do in the mountains. You have to embrace some of these scary situations. Don't rush them, because it's actually rushing them that makes them dangerous. You could hang out all day in some of these situations, some of these holds, because good solid holds, they're not fatiguing, not particularly fatiguing, and you just have to trust that time is on your side, essentially. If you rush, I mean, it's a great way to get yourself killed. Though it does bring up a good point. This is part of why you do need to have that physical component. You do need to have that endurance, because you don't want to be working against the clock and essentially knowing that you're running out of energy. You want to know that you can go all day if necessary.
All right, Steph, this is definitely a little bit of a down climb. This is easy as long as you really take your time and take small movements with your hands and feet. Looking good. Take your time. Remember to breathe. Bring your left foot up a little bit more if you need to find a hold. You don't have to make big moves. And if you need to, just chill for a second, catch your breath before you make the next little section. But you're looking great. Yep. Don't be afraid to face the wall if you need to. Yep. Your right foot's on. Bring that left foot down. You can scoot your right foot over and put your left foot where your right foot is. Perfect. Yeah, dig it into. Yeah. Now, once you get down, don't step back because you're on the edge. Perfect. Come towards me. Yeah, look at that. You can just down climb. That's awesome.
At this point, I think we finished most of the dangerous stuff, most of the down climbing, but can't afford to lose concentration and get complacent. Constantly trying to remind Stephanie of that, as I think that's actually when a lot of people get hurt.
Nice. We crossed the Devil's Tower. Now let's not lose concentration. We're here on this little easy section. A lot of loose rock. There seems to be a pretty obvious path. It takes us down and around, so we're gonna give that a shot.
Something I've witnessed in people is almost like a fairness attitude. It's like, oh, I've done so much. I've done all the hard climbing, and I just want to be done. It's like almost a petulance. I'm tired of being focused or trying really hard, and that's a terrible attitude to have in the mountains. Remember, there's no fairness. There's really only life and death, and keep that in your head. It's just life and death. That's all there is out here.
Here, down, come up here, around. Now we're just walking along the ridge line, and then back down and around. Here's our car, somewhere right around there.
Not that we can lose focus, but can definitely breathe a little sigh of relief. Just walking along the last little bit of ridge line, back down here to the secret lake. Convince Stephanie to jog with me a little bit because I'm ravenously hungry at this point. It's been a while since I've eaten.
Stephanie wants to go touch the snow. Is it cold?
No, it's really warm.
Ow!
Not every day you see snow in August.
Pretty cool. There's where we were.
These little fellows were squeaking at us all day. Thought for the longest time it was a bird, but finally figured it out. Then back down through the trees, so beautiful. Stopped to smell the roses, because that is obviously a rose. More little squeaky varmint fellas. This one's very chubby though, so I'd say he's a more successful squeaky varmint fella. Back down past Secret Lake. It's all flat from here to the car, and my eyes just can't help but be drawn to that ridgeline, and kind of amazed at what we did and how far we've come. Thankful to have gotten out of there safely and to be back to the car.
Made it back to the car 8 hours later, one summit of Devil's Castle later. It has been almost 24 hours since I've eaten. Definitely a good 20-22 hours. All I've had today is caffeine. We're gonna make the hour drive back to Salt Lake City.
You definitely don't have to hike or climb to enjoy the beauty up here, guys. It's beautiful from the car, and as far as I'm concerned, it'd be worth it just to drive up here.
Hey boy.
So good.
Well guys, thanks for tagging along today. If you enjoy this kind of stuff, consider liking and subscribing. Maybe I'll see you next time.